Kabam gives some insight into AI. Hi everybody, welcome to the second video of Friday. Now I did have the MCN already planned, so that's already out earlier today. And this one is like, because you're probably wondering, well, it says 7 PM there. I'm actually recording this on Thursday, but I'm building content coverage wise. I've got lots to cover. I'm just going to make sure I take my time and enjoy things and cover stuff as and when. But yeah, let's get into this because there's some stuff that I want to inject into what Kabam is saying, but also look at other games as well and what they're doing and what has been done in the past. Some things that I will agree with Kabam on, some things that I won't agree with Kabam on, the way they kind of go about things with AI. But the one thing that I am very happy about is Kabam are taking the time to be transparent about stuff. Whether you like what, say, Dave and the team are doing, at least what they're doing compared with, say, how it's done previously is you're getting all these kind of like, they're kind of road mapping, but also giving you a look behind the curtain, something that Kabam haven't done for a long time. So that does need to be kind of mentioned and noted, but let's get into it. Of course, yep, hot topic, as we know. And before they begin, it's important to separate what exactly the AI controls from how it makes its decisions, as those are two different conversations. We plan to have both conversations, but for the particular post, we want to focus on the latter. So the latter being, where is it? How the AI makes decisions. So this post is based on how the AI makes decisions. So the enemy, basically, what the enemy does is like, how does it choose to do what it does? I'll go with. We'll learn more. Then we'll dedicate a future post to clarifying what things do and don't fall under the umbrella of AI in the first place. Because that's the other thing, like animations. Like that's a lot of the time, because there's a lot of things. There's so many things with this game. It becomes just so complex. The way a champion moves, the way a champion interacts with nodes, the way the champion's animations and like build. Like, if I had, for whatever reason, if Kabam made me the character, but what they did was they said, they modeled me like this has been my hand, but then my hand is kind of further forward, but what you see is my hand further back, but effectively it's like this. It's like hitbox, and then hitbox goes into something else. If they've not animated a character correctly, based on movement, and rigged correctly, then that can cause an issue as well. It's like a boxer. Two boxers, one's got a bit larger and longer reach than the other boxer. Therefore, the boxer that has the longest reach is able to hit you more, and you're unable to punch them back effectively because they'll be able to keep you at distance. Anyway, moving on. What is AI? Not an actual artificial intelligence. A framing perfect button masher with random outputs. More on this later. Too random, but also doesn't respect randomness. It's too random for the designers to control, but also has old hard rules and makes it harder to understand than true randomness at times, making it very difficult to debug. And that's just how Kabam have kind of like done the AI in the past, because it's got to be rebuilt from the ground upwards. What we need, the community, how the game has evolved, especially looking at other games as well. What does AI know? Actions. What buttons are available to press? Light, medium, heavy, special, attack, block, etc. Distance. How far apart the attacker and defender. State. What animation state are the characters in? Idle, block, dash, special attacks, hit, stun. And then we go on more. What doesn't the AI know? Effects. The AI doesn't know about the existence of buffs, debuffs, passives, timers, nodes, traps. There are effects that modify how it makes its random decisions, but it doesn't know if they're active or not. And as much as, like, because I say at times, oh, Bane, the champion seems to be holding on to a block, right? That's not necessarily correcting what I'm saying when I'm saying that the AI is kind of like, it plays into it. It's just that Kabam can't control something that's being unfair to the player base, because the champion is holding onto a block for a longer period, which means that when Bane expires, you're going to be debuffed because you can't make a hit on that enemy. So it's a problem that Kabam have inherited from their own making, yet the player suffers as a result. Anyway, masteries. The AI doesn't know about the existence of masteries, even ones that now now live at the center of MCOC gameplay. As an example, the AI is never attempting to parry because it doesn't know that it is or does. It simply tries to block incoming hit, and this can cause it to parry. The same goes and memory. The AI only knows about the present game state. It's no concept of things that happened earlier in the fight. This also means that it has no idea if it's attempting an action for the first time in the fight or the 20th time in a row. How does AI make decisions? Each action the AI can take is given a weighed chance of being rolled. Every frame of the AI rolls to see what action it attempts, even if it's already performing another one. There are some rules that make an action invalid, e.g. you can't do this action, you this state, can't do this action if your distance to the opponent is too great, and so on. If the AI rolls an invalid action, it will keep re-rolling until it finds a valid one. The animation below shows, which is this one. This is where I have, of course, the biggest issue, because what Kabam is saying in this post, and it is incredibly interesting, and it's good that they're kind of lifting stuff behind the scenes. It's like when you're not in control of something, it's like having a child that is in its teens, or their teens, and they decide to go out and, I don't know, throw rocks at a school window. You don't know, you're at home with your partner, or you're up, whatever, and you're going, do you know what? I wonder what our child is up to. Little do you know that they're throwing stones, they're getting themselves in trouble. They're not doing something good for society. They're out being a little shit, right? That's basically it. Kabam are the parents at home and going, I hope our child's being well behaved and not getting himself into trouble. Yes, your child is getting yourself into trouble, and as a result, you're going to have to sort it out. Kabam go further and say AI profiles. Each fight has an AI profile assigned that determines its default weights for rolling each action. We primarily use 2, easy for early game content and hard for everything else. Do you know what? I think in the past I was like, oh no, because they don't use the same. I think they said in the past they don't use the same AI for everything, and it obviously rebuffs that particular statement. In rare cases, if a champion relies on a specific action as a core part of their gameplay loop, we can add additional weighting to the action for that character, e.g. heavy attack on Dr. Doom. We do mean rare here. There are far fewer of these cases than players usually suspect. But that again is the issue. If a champion's holding onto a block and you've got nodes that are unfair for the community, it just becomes unfair, doesn't it? Because the enemy champion requires to do something. Either you've got to do the action or a thing, or the enemy's got to do it. And if the enemy's not being receptive to that, then there's no point Kabam creating nodes around champions. This is why, for me, the Alliance Wars showcase, the Deathless showcase for the Mystic defense and Tech defense was so good, because you didn't have to deal with the AI having that piddly crap of playing into some weird node that you've got to do something, but you can't do it because the AI is not being receptive to do it. Anyway, I digressed. Aggression. During the fight, hitting the defender builds up a hidden aggression stat, which adds more weight to certain attack actions. This decays over time if you stop hitting the defender. Both the growth and decay of the system vary by profile. I'm not going to say this is how you counter this, because there's no point because you could get, oh, by the way, in the fight, don't hit the enemy for so long. Why? Could benefit you. Well, if you go hit them, then after that, then you become a bit more aggressive. Right, I understand that. Mistakes. Another hidden system is mistakes. AI has a chance in a roll to make a bad decision with the original intent of giving a player an opening to capitalize it. This here is not great. This part of the AI is not particularly helpful. And also that particular window, that capitalization window, is seen very much as a red herring. Whenever you're kind of oh, I've got a safe in, they snap you with a special attack. This is why I've talked in the past about hitting to block counter by special, or hitting to static or passive or non-block countered by special. It's just not great. The same way that they do a medium on you, you're intercepted. All of a sudden, all kind of mediums. You are mediumed as you're dashing in. It's just not fair. But Kabam, no. Kabam got to get sorted. And of course, effects. This nowadays it's like you have to put a taunt on, intimidate, or an infuriate in order to actually make the AI change its nature, because it is so trash at times. But of course, it's going to lead to other things. So, Kabam said, with all that above being said, the AI doesn't really know why it's hitting the buttons it's hitting, but when it makes a decision, it does so instantly. And with perfect information, frame perfect button mashing. And there's this thing about so it's kind of made, it just feels like it's faster. I know feel is kind of a bad way of determining it, but when even Kabam crashed and said the AI recovery time is too high, that tells you all you need to know about where the state is of how, I'd say, not up to par with other fighting games as MCC should be. So it will be dealt with. Kabam said they will deal with it. Anyway, that kind of in the moment randomness is what everything the AI does is built from. So while behavior patterns do emerge based on the probability spread of the different action roles, the most universal truth of the AI is the unpredictability. Now, some of that is the point in a skill-based fighting game, where an element of your skill is reacting to new information, but the current system is more random than that. It's important to reiterate that AI is no concept of techniques like parry or intercepting. That's why it's so difficult to address certain kinds of issues, like the AI light intercepting the player too often. Yes, that's it, because there isn't a system specifically for that behavior in place, and so there's nothing we can cleanly tune up or down. We can change global aggression value to tell the AI to use light attacks less often or to block more often, but all those cause significant... Block more often? It does. They do block more often. But all of those cause significant collateral damage to the overall play experience. At the end of the day, when the button masher at the heart of the system sees your character vulnerability in front of it and the range of the light attack, it is going to see as the only valid action some real percentage of that time. Anyway, for these reasons, our long-standing policy was that we simply wouldn't change the AI at all. Why risk making gameplay worse overall when you can't even be confident the change will have the intended effect? Not sure about that. As you said before, we decided last year that the approach was untenable. Too many small changes were happening, whether we wanted them or not. We optimized the way fights are loaded, or clean up some background variables, or find a fix a seemingly unrelated code bug, or do something crazy like upgrade the entire game to play and function at 60 frames per second instead of 30, and something... Well, I needed to do that in order to put it on PC. Someone would change without us being able to roll back or even meaningful make changes the opposite direction. There's a lot more with this one, but anyway. Now, the moment you will have been waiting for: transparency, development, build a brand new AI system. Good. And here we go. This is a little nugget of info. Our goal with this rebuild is to gain the ability to actually do things, just tune intercepts down, or to build a feedback loop where the AI actually understands that it has been throwing heavies against the wall for 20 seconds and should maybe try something else. But first, we still need to build our systems and perception and memory, and then making decisions and get those decisions so close to parity with the current system as possible. After all, that weird random button masher is a core of the contest, as we know, and we don't plan to start things off with wild departure from what you're used to seeing. I've lost my train of thought here. Perfectly replicate the current experience, but we intend to get very close, only with access to many more tools and levers for further improvements. Additionally, we are building the system stats so we have the ability to roll it out carefully and deliberately. We don't plan to surprise you one day with an announcement that the whole contest has swapped over, but instead plan to test this first in only specific quests or game modes. Now, this is a long way off, and we're certainly a number of challenges to delivering this, but we're committed to improving the player experience and even further to keep you in the loop as we build out this massive new addition to the contest. Until then, half the team will see you in the Battleground. Good. Okay, I don't want to really make this video any longer than it should be or needs to be, but that's good news that they're doing that. There's not really a huge amount of information from this except for how the game is kind of like, how the AI is at the moment, and how it is. The perfect description that I have is that they're out rambunctiously doing stuff, the teen, the AI, and then the parent, Kabam, are trying to basically be a good parent to a very rambunctious and very wild AI and trying to give it some control. When I've looked at other games and a lot of fighting games AI, a lot of ones still come to mind. But Killer Instinct, which is a game a long time ago, there was a 2017 remake which looked a little bit like this. I can't remember like what device that might have been on. Was that like a? It wouldn't be like a. Oh, what was it? That wouldn't be Switch. It's too early for Switch. Kind of remnants of. Would it be GameCube going into maybe Xbox? I think it was available on Xbox. A lot of players really liked Killer Instinct's AI. So that is something that players have played other games. There's also there's some more. A lot of people mention Tekken and the performance around the AI around Tekken. And it's specifically I think the Phantom system, but I don't think Kabam could ever do that. There's a lot of other games out there with better AIs, just from what I've seen. But, yeah, I want to see more. I want to see this, how this goes. AI has not been great. AI recovery time. Decision making when it comes to AI. Yeah, okay, animation bugs here and there. But it's largely the AI, the kind of structure Kabam have got from how they've gone, oh, just do coding it oh, you do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and that's fine. That's how we want this to play out. And it's just not fair against the nodes and various different types of interactions. Seeing this has been a breath of fresh air, by the way, and I'm glad Kabam did this. And I am hopeful for the future because this is the key aspect of the game. It's a fighting game. There's two characters fighting. One controlled by Kabam's actions of how they set it up, and one being the player. And if you, the player, aren't enjoying it, then Kabam can just fight against their own fighting game and realize that it's not exactly great. Either way, excited for the future, hopeful for the future, and yeah, this was an interesting read. Go and give it a read yourself, come to your own conclusions, but for me, I'll believe it when I see it. Roll on when it's done. Anyway, thanks for watching. Check out some other content, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.